Hello and welcome to the Enlightenment Exchange. We are back this week. Just so I don't forget, if you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button. You
Oh,
know,
we won't forget. We'll keep saying,
I don't know. It's been a week. I don't even know how long we've been on. So I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I guess you could call this endeavor a failure, but it doesn't matter.
well, we could tell our audience that we're trying to get to 1 million subscribers and we just want you to help.
There you go. There you go. I, the truth is, if 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 the subscriber number got too high, we'd have to work harder at it. So I don't know. Maybe for right now we're good. Lot going on. Anyway, there
Indeed,
is a lot going on. I mean,
there is a lot going on.
we've talked quite a bit about the idea that 2025 has been hard for a lot of people.
Yep.
And sort of uh, the theme for the show for this year or whatever, kind of the idea of getting back into balance, balancing
Yeah.
the divine feminine and masculine within
Yep.
ourselves and in the world. And um, the truth of the matter is, I think that no matter what side of the fence you stand on, in the U.S., of course, I'm talking about the U.S. That's where we are. The energy of everything that is going on is affecting people.
Yep.
Whether you watch the news, you don't watch the news, whether you participate, you don't participate, whether you think one side is right or the other side is right, it doesn't matter. None of
Right.
that
The
matters.
chaos is
The
pervasive.
chaos is getting the better of all of us. And so that's why it occurred to me. And it was interesting because the reason I came up with the idea for talking about neutrality, and then we saw these other videos too that we'll talk about, was I saw, I know, and oddly enough, I can't find it, of course. I swear I thought I shared it, but I didn't. I saw a meme or some kind of Facebook post or Instagram post that said basically to the effect of, when you feel like when it comes to someone else, when feel like you can see what's going on for them, what's wrong with them, and they can't see it, or you only want what's best for them, or all those strong feelings that you have, what somebody else is doing or going through or whatever triggers you. The idea is that the reason it triggers you is because they're not doing it the way you would do it.
Right. Right.
And I thought, huh, well, that's interesting. And I'm just going to give one really quick and what I think is a fantastic example. My friend, okay, so we all know about the self checkouts at the grocery store and
Right.
Walmart and everything else.
Right. They're
I
not
don't
for
work there.
engineers.
I don't do it. I don't work here. It's not my job. I don't do it. And I feel strongly about that. I feel as strongly about that as I feel about walking in through the outdoor. Okay. Just do. But my friend does it all the time. Now, what's interesting to me is that nearly every time she goes through the self checkout line, there's some kind of problem that she has to deal with.
Right.
And for whatever reason, it makes me crazy. And it has for some time. And then it hit me the other day when I saw her doing it. I was like, oh, she's not doing it the way I would do it. And that's why it's making me crazy.
Yeah.
So, again, proving that your triggers are not about the other person, they're about you, no
Mm.
matter what you
Yep.
think.
Yep.
Your triggers are all about, whatever's going on in you. And I just feel strongly that I don't work there, and I feel like they're trying to put people out of jobs and,
Yep. Yep.
everything else. So, I mean, I feel the same way when I see her pick up a bottle of water, in a plastic bottle, because I will not drink water out of a plastic bottle. I
Hmm.
just won't.
Okay.
I drink out of aluminum, and I
Okay.
mostly drink seltzer, but I won't. We don't buy, we don't buy plastic bottles of
Is
water,
that because of the phthalates and stuff in the plastic,
and
or
because the plastic is bad,
that is true?
because only like 7% of plastic some really ridiculously low percentage
Gets recycled.
actually gets recycled.
Yep.
I don't care if you put it in the recycle bin.
Yep. You're right. And a
It
lot of that
doesn't.
just ends up getting sorted into the dump and it goes into landfill or the
Yep.
ocean. Yep.
Yep. Into the ocean.
Right. Like seriously, that is just so wrong.
I mean, yeah. And so and as we speak about things like that, it's really interesting because the idea of being neutral is so counter to feeling strongly about things.
Hmm.
So how do you blend, like somebody who's an actual activist? Now, I believe you can be we've talked about this before. You can be an
Yep.
activist by walking in the light, right? Which to me means you don't fall into the pit of the news. You don't spread the gossip. You don't share the posts. I mean, my Facebook feed is covered in otters right now. They are the flavor of the month, otters. I like
Others.
otters an
Yeah.
awful lot.
That's
So,
hilarious.
um, but I don't see the political posts. Like my friend will say, "Oh, did you see this?" No, how many times do I need to tell you? I don't watch the news, and I've curated my Facebook feed that I don't see political posts. Um, so how do you walk that line of being neutral and not being miserable and remain aware, safe, and active if it's your role to be active? I mean,
Yeah.
I
Can I
wonder about the activists who feel so strongly about things that they march and they protest and they do all these things. Are those poor people miserable all the time?
so I heard an interview one time, where it was Byron Katie, and she was doing her the work session with someone, and um, the person she was talking to said, "I don't believe in this the work because you're taking away my power to do stuff." And and she said, "Is it more effective to be centered and neutral and come at your activism from a position of strength, or is it better to be angry and come at your activism from a point of anger?" And I'm not saying it very well. Basically, what she
No,
was
but I
saying,
understand what you're saying. And really if you really take that just one step further back than the point of anger is from the point of fear, right?
yeah,
Because it's
yeah,
fear that generates the anger.
correct, yep. And she did such a nice job of kind of reframing that person's activism, um, in terms of, you know, come at it from a centered whole point of view where you are okay with how the world is, you love what is, now go out there and be an activist rather than resisting and being angry. And her whole thing is
Because
loving what is. So
oh,
she would,
interesting. I
yeah,
mean, because that's really kind of like was it I think it was it last week when we were talking about like are you okay right now?
yes,
Right now you're okay.
right now I'm
And
okay,
so
yep,
so the idea it's like you have to oh, that's so cool. Like I just
yeah,
saw it happen.
cool.
You have to take the world and separate it from the people.
Yeah,
It's the people that you have the problem with,
hmm,
you know, and then you have to bring yourself to that place where you remember you can't control what anyone else says or does, only how you react to it.
right,
The world is fine. And I do firmly believe that even with even with the damage we've done to the climate,
hmm,
even the things that man has done in the name of capitalism or whatever it might be, the earth will be fine
Mhm.
because the earth is the being, and then
Interesting.
the man who is
Mhm.
fracking and
Yep.
mining and,
Right. Dumping trash.
polluting and dumping is the virus.
Yeah.
Just
Yep.
saying, so that's interesting. I mean, because then doesn't it kind of make you feel like, okay, for me, not drinking water out of a plastic bottle, not giving my money to the Nestle company is an act of activism, right?
Right. But
A-
you're
a-
still grounded and
but I'm
neutral.
still grounded and it's neutral. It's just a
Yeah.
choice.
Yep. Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought the whole thing about not like raging against this thing that you are seeing or experiencing, the rage and the pushing against what is causing you to suffer more than you is causing you to suffer. If
And
you
doesn't it
can,
just contribute to the energy of the rage anyway?
yeah, right,
I mean, I think the most powerful, if you think about it, I mean, okay, Reverend Martin Luther King, so he understood the power of like fire and brimstone,
right, yep,
I I I I I have experience in some of those churches. I've seen a little bit of that fire and, brimstone, the way they, you know, um expand their energy when they're preaching such a thing. But if you really think about his messages, they were messages of peace.
yeah,
They were messages of calm. They were not messages of rage.
right,
It
yep,
wasn't, um, you know, and it's interesting because it wasn't rage against the white man, right? It
right,
was, we are all, we should
brothers and
all be
sisters,
included.
yep,
We are all people.
yep,
So, I mean, that is a place of neutral, isn't it? I mean,
yeah,
that really is where the power is.
yep,
And I think, oh, this is interesting. There's a peace or a silence in neutrality that those that are angry and fearful can't bear.
oh,
Like,
interesting. Tell me, talk more about that. That's really interesting.
oh yeah, this is really interesting. It's like, how there are people who can't bear to be alone,
Yeah,
can't sit quietly on their own. They can't, they've got to have the TV going, they've got to be in amongst the crowds, they've got to
yeah,
be out.
yep,
There's oh, I mean, if you really think about it, neutrality, neutral, free from assumption, judgment, self-doubt, and fear, quiets all the ego voices that are, so very human.
yep. I got something to tell you about that exact
That's
situation.
interesting. Go ahead. I mean,
So,
wow.
um, my mom before she passed away was she had a bit of a rage problem when she had something that was bothering her, and it was usually a story she was telling herself about how things were, and it wasn't the actual reality. When I started learning to just be calm and centered and neutral, um, that drove her absolutely crazy because I would not resist, and she had nothing to push against, and that made her even madder.
Mhm.
And I'm kind of sitting there going, I hear you. Yes, I understand. And just it just jacked up the rage until she walked away because I was not arguing against, and she had nothing to push against. So it was the most interesting expression or interesting example of when you go neutral and you center yourself, it it'll either make people chill or make them so mad they want to walk away because they have nothing to push against.
So I just typed in there is a peace within neutrality that the angry and fearful cannot hear. Just to see what will come up. And that line is a gilded dagger through the veil, Angie. It hums the truth. And this is gonna just speak exactly what you're talking about. It hums the truth. The moment someone steps into true neutrality, unbothered, unhooked, untwisted, those still latched to the chaos, outrage, or control often can't stand it. Why? Because neutrality exposes the storm they're still feeding. It doesn't validate their fear or fury, it just is. And it's intolerable to those who need a reaction to feel real. Now, that is, I mean, wow,
Oh, wow.
right?
You need to send that
Because
to me because that explains a lot.
I know, right? Like, and I
Yeah.
will, I absolutely will. It's, wow.
Hmm.
So, because as you were speaking, about your mother in particular, I was wondering about her childhood and what that
Hmm.
might have been like, and if the family was kind of crazy
Oh,
and
yes.
rageful and,
Yes,
or
yes,
if they
yes.
were
Yes. Yep,
and
very much so. I found that out afterwards,
after
actually.
after the and so what's interesting, um, and it's what's really kind of interesting too, I mean, you and I met online, like, we've never, we didn't grow up together or around
Yep.
each other or whatever, um but you're similar in to my husband in one way, which is um now he does have some passive siblings, but he's got craziness, that kind of, what you're talking about,
Yep.
same
In his
thing
family as
around
well.
him,
Hmm.
and yet he's very calm and even and neutral, very much
Nice.
like you, which I find interesting. Like, so is that a frequency that do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
can you
Yeah.
attract more of those people around yourself if you are that way?
I think so. I think all the friends that I've made since my, spiritual journey began tend toward the more even toned, neutral, grounded people.
Yeah, I mean, it just takes so much energy to get upset over every little thing, you know? I mean, it's interesting too because it's like, I don't know, it seems like there's been an awful lot of them lately too. The what do you call them? The famous people.
Celebrities.
Yeah, that's it, celebrities. Robert Redford, I mean, they're, of my youth, they're
Yep.
really kind of passing on. And I see people get like really upset and tearful. And I'm like, but you didn't know that.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it makes me wonder sometimes, have I gone too neutral? Right. But the truth of the matter is, I mean, how can you be upset? And I guess it's really not about the celebrity. Perhaps it's more about your own mortality kind of hitting you in your face.
Possibly, yeah. Although
All the people you remember from when you were young are
mm,
starting
mm.
to drop off. But
I have a friend's wife who follows the celebrity gossip, like, constantly, and when I read something like she sends her Christmas letters around, half of it's like, "We did this as a family," and, "Oh my goodness, can you believe that the Kardashians did such and such?" And I'm like, "Seriously? Seriously?" Like, "Okay, I guess if your life needs drama, you gotta find it somewhere."
yeah, I mean, now I'm not going to say I'm above watching the Kardashians because I do. And I don't know why. It's like one of those things. It's like a train wreck. I can't look away. Um, but I don't like,
You don't care.
I don't care.
Yep.
Like, I don't run out and buy their cosmetic. Although I have to say, I did almost throw up when I saw that Kim drive up in one of them cyber trucks. I was like, Seriously.
Uh-oh, you're on the wrong
You have
side
the
here.
money that you could buy yourself a Rolls and you bought that piece of crap? Come on now.
Yeah.
Didn't even have it wrapped or anything. Just driving around in the stainless steel, whatever
Sardine
it
can.
was.
Yeah.
What an ugly I mean,
Yep.
it hops right on up there with the Gremlin and the PT Cruiser.
What was the other one? The Yugo.
Oh God. Oh, the Yugo, man. The Yugo isn't the Yugo the one that was like $2,000 or something when it came out? Like
Right.
everybody could afford a Yugo, they basically
Yep.
said.
And everything broke. Like you'd roll the windows down
But
with a
I
handle.
remember I knew a girl who was on her way down 53. That's in Illinois. That's one of the highways.
Yep.
Route 53. She was driving to Elmhurst or something for a job interview, and the door flew off. She,
Oh, wow.
she kept on going, driving. There's no driver's door.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, yeah, I guess they really cut some corners to make that car as cheap as it was.
Yeah, you think?
Anyway, so I want to we saw another thing we saw. So Jen and I both followed this guy. How do we call him?
Sadhguru. Sadhguru.
Sadhguru.
Yeah.
I just love him. You should look him up.
Yep.
We'll put it in the comments in the YouTube video, not in here because you'll
Yeah.
only
Just
see it while
just
we're on.
just
It's
to emphasize that.
SADA.
Yeah.
Oh, here I know. I can do this, right? Like,
While you're doing that, I just gotta say, Angie, every time you send me something from him, it truly makes my day. He's funny
ah,
and so profound, and it's just like, oh wow, what a great reminder of fill in the blank. He's very wise, and just
well,
yeah,
but you know what I like about him more than anything is he's very neutral.
true,
He's very like
even keel.
calm and
Yeah,
peaceful and middle
yep,
of the road. Like that, nothing is so complicated. So this was his. This was one of the quotes that we saw in a video that we one of the most recent ones that I shared with John.
yep,
Um, and it was about how people are, talking about how we're always everything's so difficult. We make everything so hard, and we got to work so hard, and we got to please people, and we got to do all these things. And he said, "Uh oh, well, we lost John. I don't know exactly what happened." Well, that's interesting. I'm just going to keep talking, and we'll see if he comes back. But the quote is this: "I saw a flower, thought it was giving. On closer look, realized it's just living." I'm not really sure what happened here. I guess maybe his internet went out. We'll give him a few minutes. I don't know how long I can. Well, I can. You know me, I can talk for a long time. Um, but it's easier when I can talk to somebody else. So we'll see what happens. We'll give him a few minutes. Anyway, the oh, here he is. There he is. He made it back.
and
Okay.
that was nice.
I read the poem about the flower, and I said, well, we'll
Oh,
just have to
good,
wait and
good,
see
good,
what
good.
happens. John
Yep,
will come back or he won't. And here you
I'm
are.
back. Yeah, my camera just decided that like, nope, we're done here, and it
Oh,
just shut
okay. Well,
off.
that does happen. It sure does happen. I don't know. Technology meant to make our lives easier, right?
Yeah, so they say.
So they say. So there was that one, the one about the flower and just be like, don't make everything so hard. But this was the one that I thought was a little bit more interesting. And we'll have to try and remember to put a link to this video in the comments because what it was a young girl asked him, um, can you cancel out bad karma? And basically he said, why?
I love what he
What did you
says. He
do?
says, What did you do this morning?
Yeah, what did you do this morning? And it was a really interesting take on karma. The idea that karma just means action, and that what karma really is just your life action, what
Yeah.
you do,
Yep.
what you do. So, it's hard, sometimes you just can't find these things in the
Right. Well, he said, he said most people have an incorrect understanding of karma. They think it's cause and effect. If you do this, this is what's going to happen to you. And what he basically says is karma is just your actions, and everybody has actions all the time. And your actions,
99% of your actions are subconscious.
that was it. Thank you.
Yeah.
And he says, if you are living by karma, you are making the things you do intentional. Um, putting meaning behind what you do. And I'm like, that's absolutely profound. That is just so profound.
And the idea also that there is nobody up there, meaning,
Right.
whoever it might
Right.
be, keeping
Judging.
score,
Yep. Right.
judging.
There is no keeping
Um,
score and there's no judgment.
so I mean, if we look at the idea of from the lens of an Akashic record reader,
Good
we
idea.
read for blocks and restrictions that are keeping us from accessing our divinity in the current life. And those blocks and restrictions are generated by negative choices and actions.
Okay.
So, and negative choices and actions are not really negative like evil or whatever. They're out of alignment with who you are at soul level.
Nice. Yep.
So, I think I still believe there's nobody up there keeping score. Just very much like I've said, there's no, cosmic teacher out there saying, you need to go, you need to learn this lesson. I'm not going to tell you what the lesson is. And by the way, it's going to be really hard to figure out, and you're going to need to keep going back until you do figure it out. Like, I just don't buy that. But I do buy the idea that your choices and actions create the karma that set you up for whatever state you're going to be in subsequent lifetimes, right? Does that, I mean, it's all you. It's your actions. It's what you do,
Right.
how you choose. You
Yeah.
know, why why would a vow stick with you? You've made a vow either to God. Why would that be negative? Probably wouldn't be. So, what else could there be? There could be a vow to negative beings who present themselves as gods. Gee, I don't know if we know anything about that right about now. And why would it be a negative choice if you didn't know? The negative choice comes from learning, understanding what that group or whatever
Hmm.
actually is, and then staying anyway, right? That's the negative
Oh,
choice.
you've learned that someone is not, a
Not who they
good,
say they are, let's
right.
say.
And instead of saying, you know what, this doesn't resonate with me, I need to leave, saying, "Oh, I guess I'll just stay and hope it works out."
There you go. And I think that, I was because in the course of doing the work and doing that work for so many people, I've been able to actually, intuitively get the stories for a lot of them, read the energy of the stories. It seems to me like 10 lifetimes ago, 20 lifetimes ago, we're talking hundreds of years ago, you can have more compassion for somebody who stayed in an organization that was a negative organization longer than they should have 100 years ago or 200 years ago than now. Does that make sense? Like,
Meaning because we have so much information at our
we
disposal
have so
now?
much information, but also back then, sometimes people joined organizations because that was the only way they'd get a roof over their head, or
Oh,
you know
right,
what
you
I
had
mean?
to be part of, a particular organization in order
To be
to.
safe,
Yeah,
basically. So, I don't know. It's interesting. But the idea that I guess the whole thing about it is this, in the idea of wanting to be neutral, moving through your life as neutral, and how that can affect you in the now. I mean, if we default to the idea that everybody's fine on the other side, there's
right,
no troubled souls. There's troubled humans, right?
right.
There's no troubled souls. I don't care what anybody says. What you do as a human doesn't affect you as a soul. It could affect you as a human again in a subsequent lifetime. But I believe that souls on the other side exist in a state of pure love, which means that the density of these human choices just aren't there.
Mhm, mhm.
That's what I believe.
Yeah.
And it makes sense to me, right? Like, I've thought it through. I've spoken with my guides, however, whatever you want to talk about, however you want to put it. So, how can learning to be neutral empower you in this lifetime as you move through this lifetime? Forget about, past lives,
Right,
forget about the future life. How can it help you in the now? Well, you could be less reactive, right? If you're
right,
neutral,
less
you're not as
reactive, yeah.
reactive. How does
I think
what
that's
does less
just,
reactive do for you?
um, well, as they say, it's, they call it the second arrow, right? The first arrow is when something happens to you. The second arrow is when you react and rage against it, right? You suffer twice.
There you go. That's true, right?
Yep,
And the truth really is, you have no control over what anyone else says or does, only how you react to it.
yep,
That's it.
yep. And so if you can remain neutral and, whatever happens to you, yes, oh, terrible thing happened, but I'm not going to rage against it. I'm going to understand that my reaction is up to me, and I can react or not react or remain neutral despite what happens. One of my favorite quotes is there's one of the Indian gurus from the 70s gathered his followers around with him and said, "I'm going to tell you the secret to life. You ready?" And I said, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't mind what happens to me." And they were like, "What? That's not a secret to life." And the book I was reading it in was he basically said that really is the secret to life of not minding what happens to you and not being reactive to to what's coming at you. But his followers were just
Brilliant.
completely perplexed.
Oh man. So I just this came to me, and I threw this in to the chat just to see what I get. Can a neutral person be a doormat? You know,
Perfect. Yes. Yes. Please. Yeah. Yeah. That's really
um,
important.
what a killer question. Short answer, no, but only if it's true neutrality.
Oh, good. Good. Good.
A doormat surrenders their sovereignty. They avoid conflict, suppress truth, or people please to stay safe or liked. That's not neutrality, that's self erasure. So that's different than neutrality.
That
So
is so
someone who
well.
is neutral maintains their sovereignty and is
Okay.
willing to say, you know what, I don't like that.
Yep. Yeah. It goes back to like no is a complete sentence.
So here's the wrap up. A doormat avoids judgment by disappearing. A neutral person releases judgment by standing fully here.
That's really, 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 really good.
Yep.
I'm very impressed with that.
Yeah. Um, and then, of course, want to explore that contrast in the episode too. John and I are perfectly capable of figuring out what we want to talk about all by ourselves, which I can't even believe that it's almost already time to shut down. Like,
It is. It is. Can I give one
um,
more example of neutrality and it kind of going the wrong way for me?
sure.
All right. So here's this is what happened. I was in a job a while back, and I had just learned, the whole idea of neutrality and not pushing against, um, resisting and arguing against, when something's happening to me. And I actually did a presentation. It was an all online company. I did a presentation for the rest of the staff because they had this noon hour, like teachings at noon, and people could talk about whatever they wanted to talk about over the noon hour. And so I did a session on loving what is and Byron Katie. And after I was done with that, the boss, the owner of the company, said, "Get in here with a one-on-one." And she said, "Someone needs to light a fire under your butt because you are being passive, and you're not you're not like putting all your energy into this job." And I'm like, uh-huh, interesting. She took my neutrality and loving what is, she saw that as being slacking off, basically, not putting my energy into the work. And the more I thought about it, the more I thought, this is not someone I want to work with. She wants someone that's going to yell and scream and get all worked up over a deadline. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that anymore.
No, right.
So it was
Right.
really interesting to see how that was perceived incorrectly and what my, decision was after that point.
Well, and the idea that you stood in your sovereignty, right? And you said, "Well, this is not going to work for me,"
That's interesting. Thank you for saying it that way. Yes, I hadn't, but you're right. That was what I ended up doing, and I left that job.
because you would have been miserable. So I just asked for a little, like a little glitter bomb for the end. And we, because we are just about out of time, but
Yep, yep,
neutral isn't passive. It's the power to just be clear, steady, unshaken. No manager in the sky, your karma, your creation. Like the flower, just living, and that's the gift.
mm,
There you go. I mean,
yep,
that's it. And I think it's hard for all of us to, I mean, we all feel disempowered for one reason or another. We all
yep,
grew up with some kind of obstacle or difficulty of some form.
yep. Every one of us
Um,
has triggers, things that get us upset, no matter how hard we try.
right, no matter what. And then on top of it, at least at this moment in the United States, the powers that be would love us to be uneducated, ignorant, and imbalanced, right?
Hmm.
So, standing in our own power is the last thing they want to see any of us do. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
Somehow that makes me want to go the other direction.
It makes me want to go the other direction too. So, there you go. Um, but the idea of just, and wow, and I mean, there were so many places to take this,
Yeah, yep,
um, because the truth is, if you want to be a successful spiritual entrepreneur, you've got to be neutral. You've got to be.
right,
You can't do a good reading from somebody for somebody if you're not neutral. You can't,
right, right, yep. Your filter
because
has
you
to be
you make
clean.
assumptions, right? You
Mhm.
make judgments. No good. If but the truth is, I think you need to be neutral to be able to do almost anything out there, no?
True, yeah.
Willing to see what's in front of you and not, you know
Put your own spin on it.
right, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very interesting.
I don't know. It's what are we trying to do here? I mean,
Well, understanding neutrality, that it's not passive, is I think that doormat example was probably one of the best things that best way to say it, because many people view neutrality as like, oh, well, you're just going to let them walk all over you. And no,
Right?
stand in my sovereignty and have the ability to say no.
Right? I mean, for real, I remember when the first time I was told that your triggers are about you, not them. No, they're being a jerk. Like, I mean, I really wanted to punch the person that told me that. Like,
Mhm.
I didn't, but I wanted to. Like, what is wrong with you? Like,
Right.
no, it's not me, it's them. I'm perfect. Right? And
Yeah.
we didn't even look at it from that direction. Neutral not only elevates you from being disempowered, but it also brings you down from arrogance and
Oh, yeah.
right?
Right. That's the other side of it, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean the pendulum does swing both ways.
Yeah. And there are people that are, arrogant and if they were able to be neutral, that arrogance would just disappear.
Yeah. I don't know anybody like that, but anyway. Well, that is really that for today. We've already hit the end of the episode. I can't believe it. Well, seeing as we don't know what we're talking about next week, we'll just have to let you know that later.
But mark my words, it'll be good.
It will. It always
It
is.
always is.
It always is. So, anyway. All right. Well, if you haven't yet, please hit subscribe. Um and maybe we'll get lucky and there'll be some shorts that come out of here. So, that'll be good too. Meanwhile, we will see you next week. I think uh Lisa is calming down, so we might be able to have Lisa the astrologer back pretty soon.
Wonderful.
So that
Wonderful.
would be fun.
Wonderful.
Anyway, all right. Well, that'll do it. So thank you all very
High
much
five.
and high five. Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you next week.